now listening to the Baller Scholar podcast.
Everybody dance now!
Get it going. Just bring up the Bulls.
Yeah, dude. I was thinking about the Bulls today.
I got you guys.
Huge.
All right,
segue.
if we're gonna talk about the Bulls, I gotta do a shout out to my boy Bobby D, biggest Bulls fan there is.
Bobby
D.
Shout
Right
out.
on.
He said,
He's not gonna
"Let's
have a
start
good
by
year.
talking about Patrick Williams. This guy, I was shitting on him, my friend, about this Patrick Williams pick. He said, "Oh, the classic argument. Oh, I trust the guys upstairs making the decisions. They made
God.
the right."
Lord of man upstairs.
No.
God
No,
is drafted from the Chicago
Watching
Bulls.
over the Bulls.
He thinks he's. I was like,
They
"Oh,
saw something in him.
that's a bad pick." He was like, "Oh no, it'll be fine."
Actually,
What do
the
you think
Bulls
about it?
drafting hasn't been terrible.
Kobe White might have a big
Kobe's
year.
a good pick. Zach LaVine was
Wendell.
good trade.
I mean, their team is like a good team.
That's what you were just
Like
saying.
on paper.
But they're missing like one guy that will like veteran leadership.
Yeah. And defense, probably.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like they don't really have. I feel like they can't defend at all.
No, I think that's gonna be a big issue for them. I like Satoransky.
Oh yeah, they kind of gave him a big contract because he had a couple of weird games with
Safransky.
the Wizards like
yeah.
2 years ago.
Safransky?
Thomas Safransky,
Shout out to Scott's girlfriend.
who
She'll never listen to this. She'll never
that's
love
going
me.
in first. So when she previews, she's gonna hear that.
Joke. It's just a joke.
Otto Porter's back. He's missed 118 games in the past 2 years. I only know that because they put that on the graphic
Yeah.
NBA TV.
And, I mean, before,
That's a lot.
I still think he was definitely overpaid
Mhm.
one way or another. But before he got hurt, he was a solid player.
Wasn't he
Um,
a force in that series against the Celtics? Like
Yeah, he
3
was good
years
on the
ago?
Wizards.
yeah, he's good on the Wizards.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's been okay at times on the Bulls. I know, but I don't know if you've missed that many games, that much time. Like he's been injured for most of that time. I really don't know how he's going to be. So I think he's more of like a wild card.
Mm-hmm.
in
I mean,
that
if he
lineup.
plays well, do you see this team get like ceiling 8 seed?
I think there's just too many teams.
Yeah. I like Daniel Gafford too. This is another like young guy on them that like just grabs a shit ton of rebounds and is really good in the low post. But I think they need a couple more years before they're cracking the playoffs. A couple more years and a good signing.
Even Kobe White averages 20, LaVine 20,
Oh,
Laurie
I
20.
still think- I think that
20 points a game.
In the NBA, like defense is overlooked now a lot
Mhm.
because we look for offense. But
Otto Porter can defend.
I think that they just aren't there defensively.
Complete.
And we're actually recording this as we're watching the first preseason
That's
game.
true.
And they just gave up 37, maybe more points in the first quarter.
to DeMarcus Cousins alone.
Yeah, basically.
Single-handedly.
So I mean,
No,
I
that's
think
a
that,
good
I think that they can succeed somewhat and have a better season than the past 4 years now, 3 years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Coaching change really helps them too.
That's true too. Yeah, that's a good point. We didn't even talk about
A
that.
good
That's
coach
point.
that has experience with younger guys.
Yeah.
Billy Donovan, former coach of the Thunder.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Hopefully Laurie can get more touches this year because obviously last year.
His
There was-
numbers dropped.
How many games?
Well, yeah,
did he play last
they gave
year?
him less touches and
He was hurt, right?
Played 50
kinda.
games.
Yeah.
But he went from 18.7 points to 14.7.
Do we know how many games were played pre-corona?
probably
Usually
like
around 62.
yeah. So he
Oh, he didn't miss that much.
And
He
I will
just-
say that Chris Dunn, who's been there for the past
Mhm.
3 years, who did have a decent amount of usage over the 3 years. Not as much last year. I'm looking right now, but him being gone could definitely help Kobe White,
more touches.
and could also definitely be a good thing for just improving and
Mhm.
developing the younger players.
I'd argue they
time
might
for-
miss Chris Dunn, though, just defensively.
Defensively, yeah.
Well, I mean, I agree with that, but at the same time, they weren't like great defensively last year either way.
So it's either just bad defensively or really bad defensively. So
Yeah.
it'll make a difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. Thaddeus Young, favorite player of mine.
What's that stat?
I have it up right here. Players with 800 games to average 13.5 points,
Oh,
5.9 rebounds, 1.4 steals, 49% field goal percentage, 30% three-point field goal percentage.
Who are the four?
Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Thaddeus Young.
I think that puts Thaddeus
Secret
in the
weapon.
top 5 of all time.
Secret weapon for the
Lock
Chicago
for
Bulls.
the Hall of Fame.
Is Zach LaVine, he was 56th in ESPN rankings. I found that disrespectful.
I think Marcus Smart
Personally.
was 38 or something, or 34.
Let's look at his
So like
numbers.
you have a lot of guys that are higher than him.
25.5 points.
Zach LaVine,
At 56.
I understand.
Does he do it for a big year?
I understand that,
I mean, I don't see why not.
like, kind of why he wasn't an all-star.
Holy fuck.
But I still think
25, 5, and 4.
that is like one of the biggest snubs. He had a high amount of usage, and he like did
Shot
well.
well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he shot well. He ranking him at 56.
There's
in
not
my opinion,
55
he's like a
players better
top
than
like
him.
30.
Yeah.
Like, sure, maybe he wasn't an all-star because of his team success.
Yeah, but All-Star's top 24.
Yeah, exactly.
So
And like he must have, like, what was he? He was probably like 26, 27 on that.
I don't know, like, my thing is I don't know what their criteria is for how they're ranking players, because obviously statistics aren't the only factor for some reason, but I don't understand any criteria. I don't think he's 56, even if you factor in like amount of like wins.
Oh, that was a voice crack.
Narrative.
I said, yeah. Sorry.
Stay hydrated, avoid voice cracks.
Pretty sure like
Is that a hydration thing?
I think it is for me. Or it's just a puberty thing.
Hydrated.
You're hitting a second puberty.
It's just
I'm
the
actually
narrative.
16
That's what
years
I'm
old.
saying.
pretty sure DeMar
The
DeRozan was
ESPN
like
rankings, maybe
60
ESPN
something.
rankings is narrative. They had Lonzo
Okay.
over him.
Has ESPN rankings ever
They did not
been
put
good?
Lonzo Ball over Zach LaVine.
yeah.
He was at 54.
He was higher
Josh
than
is visibly upset.
I'm pretty sure every fucking year ESPN rankings are terrible on purpose for like publicity, probably.
So they get podcasts like us
Yeah.
to talk about them.
All right, we shouldn't even talk.
we're
about
the
them.
ones.
All right, forget I
We
said
should make
anything.
our own.
No, are they,
Right now,
aren't they
top
historically-
100 players.
Aren't they historically terrible?
Speaking of the rankings,
Yeah, I
where's
think they
DeMar
are.
DeRozan? Guess. Everyone go around the
He's
horn.
like 89
I saw
or
him
something.
really
Yeah,
low.
82.
Oh my god.
I don't understand. It is narrative, Josh. I feel like they definitely valued like potential and hype over like actual cold hard stats,
Yeah.
which is a damn shame, I'd say. ESPN,
At the same time,
You know?
stats should not determine the entire
yeah.
ranking, obviously.
Well, yeah,
Because
in
then you're-
context
yeah,
of
yeah.
the team.
But like when your stats are like this, like Zach LaVine's last season, and he had a lot of usage, but like he wasn't taking 30 shots a game. in
No,
doing
and
this. he
even,
was taking
like-
20 shots, like a normal amount of shots for the star player. So
It would be cool to see him have like a 30 point per game season, and I think it's possible.
He could be like this year's Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
well, I think that last year they had a lot of injuries. So I don't know if
Might not
30
the same
points.
usage.
Yeah, I don't know if
Yeah, probably not
I don't know if 30. I think he can have the same amount of usage though. Still 20 shots a game kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that they also have a point guard now in Kobe White that is like that they're gonna let him handle the ball more.
Yeah, that's probably true. Maybe that's better for Zach LaVine though to be
I was
off
just
ball.
gonna say, that's
Yeah.
better.
Like
Yeah.
you won't have to make as many plays.
So maybe a little bit less usage, but same amount of
Better-
shots, kind of thing.
or
Maybe
better
even more.
percentage.
Maybe even better. That's a good point. Maybe.
Science. Although Otto Porter might take some shots away.
Science.
We'll see. Wendell
I mean,
Carter.
before we
good.
before we pass on, before we continue,
Before we pass away.
before we
what I was
continue though,
thinking.
All right.
what Zach LaVine did against the Hornets last year should put him in the top 30, no matter what his stats are. what he did there, that was one of the greatest moments I've ever seen, and I didn't even know until right now that Zach LaVine was 56, and that is a shocker. So Now we can continue.
Otto Porter made the top 100 too. He was like 98. I'm not sure why.
What's
But that's that.
Do we do any over unders here? What do we got?
Yeah, we touched on him.
Markkanen points per game. No, I say under.
18.7 is what he had 2 years ago
Yeah, I don't think so.
at 18.7.
I think that's an under.
He took a lot of shots that year. Took 15.
Oh, I thought Wendell Carter points per game, rebounds per game, 21.5. I think over. Breakout season for Wendell.
He's good. I feel like he's underrated.
Is it
Yeah,
second year or third year?
Third.
Second.
Oh.
Oh.
We have a.
No, it is third. It is third. It is third. I apologize.
Sorry, I had him on Basketball Reference. I wouldn't have been able to tell you that otherwise. 6'9" center. Love it. Reggie Evans style
Chubby
player.
boy. Let's move on to the best team in the league. Cleveland Cavaliers.
That's a team name my friend Steven has trouble saying. He always says Cleveland Cavaliers.
Yeah.
Like clavicle.
How can you talk about your
Your
favorite player's team wrong? His favorite player, Seti Osman.
Yep.
Josh, you saw the videos of Seti working out with LeBron and who is it? LeBron and Ben Simmons this offseason?
I think, yeah,
Breakout. What do you think?
We're gonna rub off
Poised
on
for a breakout year?
absolutely not. And I think that,
He doesn't see the floor.
no, I mean, I think that he'll continue to do what he's been doing, like just like a decent
Yeah.
player, like not
Just
great.
a guy.
Like, he's not going to make the team that much better. Not going to make them that much worse.
Not gonna make the team. Period.
But yeah, I mean, I don't see this team really doing anything this
Do you
year.
start Okoro over him? Because I've seen a lot of the projected starting fives have Okoro start, but I feel like to start the season, maybe go CD. But
I'll say it. I like Kevin Porter Jr.
yeah, just steamroll over
Yeah,
my
he's
question, Brian. Thanks.
No, I'm saying I see Kevin Porter Jr.
Oh, to start there.
possibly starting over Okoro and Garland. Say like you went big. Garland kind of makes it
Yeah.
a smaller lineup.
Yeah, I mean, I would think that they would just continue with this, like as they develop. But the thing about the Cavs is like you're so bad that it really doesn't matter that much.
What
You
is
might
this?
as well experiment
Yeah.
with like a
so
shitty team.
so
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I could see them having like that starting lineup changing like a lot.
Yeah,
the
might as well
entire
give
year.
young guys like a lot of minutes, see what they can do.
Yeah.
Does this team? What do you put the percentage of making the playoffs? Is like an 8 seed.
2%.
No
very
Yeah.
very minimal.
I would. Yeah.
I don't know.
I'm not
I would
gonna
say
give
that
it-
they would have to go on like on an insane run with Colin Sexton like improving a lot,
Mhm.
Yeah.
which he's definitely has
He's got
improved since
decent
his rookie
numbers.
year, yeah. And then with like a Kevin Love playing like maybe even like 4 years ago, Kevin Love, and then if Andre Drummond could be a decent, can be good, and he definitely still can be good.
Yeah.
Wow.
So their team like isn't.
Again, it's not bad, but it's,
not
just
yeah,
missing something.
and especially now with how competitive, as we talked about in our last podcast, the Atlantic,
Mhm.
the Atlantic alone has
That's
so many
4.
good teams. Yeah, the Central has
There's probably
2.
6 locks.
2.
Yeah.
So there's 6 or 7 locks.
Yeah, with the Heat, probably 7 locks. That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. It's like 8
So-
seed. What do you
so
put their chances?
I don't see it happening.
This team is made up.
So I would put it around what Brian said.
2?
A 2%.
This team is
2 to
made
5%
up-
Oh, they got
chance.
more than 2%.
If your percent shot to get to the playoffs is the same as milk, that's.
I mean, but there's other teams that we're not.
That's your next.
There's other
tweet,
teams
bro.
that we're not really thinking about that like will probably make the playoffs. I mean, not will probably. Sorry, that have like a way higher chance.
Right.
So I feel like you have to put them low because you have to think about
they're
the
definitely
Wizards.
low.
You have to think about the Magic, teams that like Magic have proven themselves where
Right.
they can make the playoffs, obviously.
Um,
And then the Wizards now with Westbrook,
Yeah,
they can.
It's
yeah, they
interesting.
can.
If you looked at the Thunder roster last year, would you have said
Oh yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a playoff team?
No, obviously not.
So it makes me like hesitant, like maybe not specifically Cavs, but I feel like one of these teams could sneak in like under the radar and just like play really well. Kevin Love has like a career year. Drummond puts up like 15 and 15. Colin Sexton like takes a jump up, and you're like, that's 3 solid starters.
Yeah. I think
I'll
it's
just throw it out there.
possible, but not
Unlikely.
likely.
I think
For the Cavs, at least.
The Cavs are made up of players that could help a lot of teams as a support guy, but can't be like the guy for a team.
Yeah.
And right here, it's like, okay, Kevin Love. Everyone's like, oh, our team should trade for Kevin Love. Kevin Love can't be the guy. It's not Minnesota anymore.
You're right.
Andre Drummond was never good at being the guy in Detroit when he was there. He needed more, and then you bring in Blake. That wasn't what you needed. So then he goes to a team that doesn't need him necessarily. Seti would be a good piece off the bench for a playoff team or even a starter for a playoff team, but he's not the guy. Garland, I don't know. I think Garland's a bust. You use 5 as a obviously he had injury issues and he could have a solid second season, but I don't know. I don't see him as anything special. Sexton is good, and I like him, but again, it's not a guy that you're gonna revolve your
Garland,
team around.
That was a high pick.
Yeah.
Sexton's numbers impressed me. I wasn't aware they were that high.
Talk about him.
I never thought he was that good. I feel like I don't know. I feel like everything I see on social media,
The media
NBA,
definitely. The
like-
media definitely.
they make him sound like this awful player.
I remember his rookie year. They put out like that report saying that like lots of the Cavs players, like veterans, said that Colin Sexton doesn't even know how to play
Yeah.
at a professional level.
literally- That's all.
Yeah.
Ever since
And no,
I read
I-
that,
From the
that's all I thought about
Cavs.
Sexton.
Yeah, but I think that like he definitely improved
Are we
If
the
he's
media
putting
now?
up-
from
if
his
he's
rookie
putting
year
up-
to his
yeah.
So
If he's putting up 20 points a game with Drummond going, 15 and 10 every night,
Are we the media now?
we're the
We're-
fake
we've
news
become
media.
the thing we
that's a
sought to
great
destroy.
question.
Daniel House has hemorrhoids.
Oh, jeez. Blotion.
Yeah.
Colin Sexton.
Wait, we get us below by that. What?
Let's get that trending. We're the
Yeah,
media
true.
now, you know.
Oh.
But we
Oh.
can
We're
start.
just spreading false.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
We
Hey.
can put. We can add gas to the fire.
Colin Sexton also has 2 of like the best like remember that day moments where there's the one where in like the free throw setup he's like just dead-eyed that guy
jeez.
next to him. And then there's the one where it was 4-on-5 and he dropped like
3-on-5.
3-on-5.
Yeah.
You're right.
Oh,
And
yeah.
he
I know
had
they almost
40.
won. Yeah.
So he's already like his legacy's already sick.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm going to put the Cavs' chance of making the playoffs at 15%.
I'll agree. 15 to 20.
Dude.
15 to 20. You have to think about the other teams.
I know, but like 1 in
The
Yeah,
East.
5.
Well, the other
Drummond
day,
is one of the best centers in the league.
just talking about our projected top 8, we had trouble. We're
It's
like,
just the
oh,
eight
we can't
spot.
fit
It's
this
just
guy.
the
We
eight
can't fit
spot.
this
I
guy.
feel like 15% is like a high.
Yeah.
Like you're giving them a lot of
15% is not that high.
I think 15% is pretty high when there's 8 other teams or 7 other teams that aren't making the playoffs.
When talking about our top 8 too, we were arguing about our 8, our 7, our 8, who would come in
I
9.
didn't know. I went to
And the
statistics
Cavs were
class
not one of
tonight.
them.
Okay, so if you're
I didn't take AP stats.
Me and Brian
in
on
high
the same
school.
page, not agreeing with you guys.
2% is so
so
low.
if
2% is really low, but I mean,
All right, we
honestly,
gotta move on from this.
I think we can go
This
lower than that.
percentage talk.
I think me and Brian can go
But if
down to
you're the- if
1%.
you're the-
I would say
God.
0, but that would be mean.
Oh my god.
Let's look at these Pistons.
The Pistons are like a very strange team because they traded away players that looked promising,
Yep.
that were decent. And I understand that they're still rebuilding, but I feel like they were already in the rebuilding process. But then they went and they signed Jeremy Grant to a decent sized deal, 3 years, $60 million. Mason Plumlee to not a huge deal, but it's just one of those things where, like, what are you
doing?
What are you doing? Especially
They were
since they
drunk
already
during the free agency time.
possibly, but like they already have Blake Griffin, so like they don't even need Jeremy Grant. I guess looking at the roster, Mason Plumlee might now be the only center
Mm-hmm.
on that entire roster. So I guess that makes a little bit more sense than a Jeremy Grant signing, especially since he's not even like a fantastic player, like a great player.
No.
He was definitely like a top free agent at the time, especially for a 3-year, $60 million. It's not that crazy to pay Jeremy Grant $20 million a year.
It's like what Gallinari got.
Yeah, I mean, he's a solid player, for sure. But for this team at this time, it just doesn't make sense, in my opinion.
I feel like he's kind of like a system guy that like he looks good on the Nuggets, who have all kind of like ball handlers, like Jokic can handle the ball, Murray. But like on a Pistons team that like doesn't have the same level of playmakers, I feel like Jeremy Grant is not going to be the same guy.
Because he was also successful on the Thunder.
Yeah.
And they had Westbrook and Paul George at the time.
I don't like this team as much as the Cavs, dude.
I would agree with you. I think that the Cavs
that.
are probably better.
So Cavs at least not rock bottom.
Well, I have high hopes
the Knicks to throw in there.
for Killian Hayes. I think Blake Griffin could, if stays healthy, could have a good season.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Jahlil Okafor, who like sometimes it's just like really, I don't know.
Weird career
I would
so
agree
far.
with that. I would agree
Great
with
rookie
that.
year.
I'd agree.
Fantastic
He
rookie year.
He can be decent at times, but at the same time,
I think
do they have? I think that you just go by their starting fives, and you see that the only player would be better than anyone on the Cavs, if we're talking about that comparison, would be Blake Griffin.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I guess Derrick Rose can be obviously last season he showed flashes, but I mean right now at this point in his career, Colin Sexton I would take.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Obviously to
of
like
course.
start a team, but I'm saying like even just like a head-to-head matchup, I would say that Colin Sexton is a better player.
I think
currently.
this team wins more games than Cleveland. Slightly.
I don't know.
As a person that agreed with you on Cleveland not making the playoffs at all, with like barely any chance, I would have to disagree with that. I feel like this might be the worst team in the league. They might.
I don't know what they're doing, bro.
I don't know either.
Like,
I think they are though.
What is their plan?
I don't even know. And they signed so many
3 years
guards too.
Grant
They
and
Delon
Plumlee are
Wright,
there for 3 years.
Magruder.
I didn't think
They
Blake was
drafted
happy
Killian
there.
Hayes. They still have Langston Galloway, Brandon Knight,
I think
Wayne
drafting-
Ellington. Like, what are they? What I have no idea what they're thinking.
I think Rose is gone at some point, right?
Rose is a really attractive trade
Oh,
person.
Yeah, he's
It's
been
same
mentioned
thing
a
with
lot of different ones.
What's his
Blake.
contract? What's his contract with the Pistons?
It's probably
I'll bring it up.
I think it was a 2-year, 14 mil, so it's
this is
7 each.
This is a free agent next year, then.
I believe so.
he'll
So-
get
Yeah.
traded. He has to get traded.
Especially with the draft of Killian Hayes, I feel like.
He's got to get
They'll
traded.
end up going to like the Clippers, like at the trade deadline
Some
or
team
something.
like
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I think this is just like poised
also,
for a rebuild.
come on,
What's the contract?
signing LiAngelo Ball is like a horrible sign for that front office.
Oh, it's strictly publicity, and then
But
like
why do they need that?
And what are our expectations for LiAngelo? Because I'm gonna go out and say that
he's not
he's not even gonna make
he's
the
not
team.
playing.
no, he won't make.
Did the Pistons get better? I don't think you can.
They just, like,
I
shuffled
think
around
that,
pieces.
I think that they are probably going to stay around the same win total as last year.
Like,
Do they make the playoffs this year? I think that there's no shot. Even with like Blake Griffin, even if he played like his potential like MVP self 2 years ago,
not happening.
no. Yeah.
No.
Yeah, like what you're saying, Christian Wood was a guy I feel like you keep.
Yeah, I don't understand that. That's
Bruce
that one
Brown
really-
is someone you keep.
Yeah, Bruce Brown
Luke
was off to a
Kennard
decent
is
start in his
probably
career.
someone you keep.
Yeah, that's got to be someone you keep.
Like, I don't understand. Tony Snell. Someone you probably should give away, so we'll give him that. 'Cause
Yeah.
who needs him? No offense, sorry. This is a very, very anti-Tony Snell episode.
Snell's slander.
Yeah, I think even if we get like good Derrick Rose and like great Blake, this probably is not a great team. But I do want to point out two guys that frequently find themselves on the opposite ends of highlights. We have Brandon Knight, Mason Plumlee. Who gets embarrassed more this season?
You know, I feel like a lot of times for like centers, especially
Mm-hmm.
like Aaron Baines, when you get embarrassed, per se, when you're a center, a lot of times it's like you're putting in
It's
effort.
like respectable.
I feel like Brandon Knight he just gets like embarrassed, not really even by like
Well,
putting
he
in
gets
effort.
dunked on and crossed
Yeah, he gets
up. Like,
dunked on, but like he's jumping. I mean, the one that obviously sticks out is DeAndre Jordan,
yeah.
and like you're jumping to try and stop an alley-oop
You know,
from
he probably
DeAndre
lost
Jordan.
track
Like,
where
that
he
just
was on
doesn't
the
really
court.
make sense. And then the Kyrie Irving getting crossed over by Kyrie Irving, that's not.
Surprisingly, you don't see big men get crossed up as much as you see guards get dunked on. Talk about
They
it.
probably can't move their feet fast enough.
I know, but you'd think that they would just get like their foe get caught on the ground all the time and be like, "Down goes Mason Plumlee."
You see like Giants.
Yeah, apparently not though. So maybe we have centers guards from now on.
It's a good idea.
I hate the Plumlees, bro.
Wow, entire family. I think
think they're-
Mason's the best one though, isn't he?
Yeah, he is.
Dude, he's 7 points and 5 rebounds.
7 points.
Like, he's 3 years 25, and like Serge got 2 for 19.
Same with Montrez.
Yeah,
I think
Like,
that's a little
what
bit
is
different though,
that?
because like they're going to teams that they want to like
Right.
win on. So
that's the thing with like Detroit. If you want to
But
get
then
free
what's
agents, you
Detroit-
have to overpay them. Like that's the only reason you're gonna ever get someone to Detroit
Yeah,
is if
but
you
then, like,
draft them or trade for them
but I
or
feel
pay
like
them way more.
I
than
feel like
they're
players
worth.
like that they're taking right now, like Jeremy Grant. He's not that old, obviously, but like Mason Plumlee,
Yeah,
he's getting
he's-
older.
That's
So
3 years, bro. They're
so
stuck
like
with Mason Plumlee
so it's
for
like
3 years.
at that point, it's like yeah, maybe that's what they're thinking. Maybe
29.
they're thinking we sign them now and we'll get them to stay in the future. But like, why would you even
I
do that
don't
with
know,
Mason?
man.
Plumlee?
I think you blow this
if
up.
they're better.
So let's talk about our Matt's favorite team,
oh,
the Indiana
God.
Pacers.
Can we
I'll
get
say it.
yeah.
One seed.
Universe. Dude, you can
Someone-
make an argument.
I have a question. I have a question.
ESPN didn't even have them in the playoff projection.
Is that a fact?
I'm personally offended
one
by
of their
that.
guys.
What's your question?
My question is, are they better off
Question,
with or
Kaplan.
without getting Gordon Hayward this past offseason?
Mm,
They're better for it, like money wise. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
I'm
Like,
gonna
if-
say that they're better off.
Thanks.
I
I
feel
agree.
like
I agree.
Yeah.
I just kind of interrupted Matt.
Especially
But-
if it was a signing trade, that would be not good for them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was gonna say like I feel like Miles Turner, not that great of a player now,
he's
especially
kinda
last
overrated.
year he had like a.
Although when he was
not
coming to
a
the
great season.
Celtics, he was like so good, right?
No. But I would have preferred that other than getting nothing.
His rebound numbers are not very good for a center who plays like 30 minutes a game.
But I think that they still need him. Sabonis is actually not good defensively.
Mm-hmm.
So if they decided to do that and put Sabonis at the 5, if they had gotten rid of Turner
Right.
and they had Gordon starting, which I think they would have done. I think it would have been like Brogdon, Oladipo, Hayward, Warren, Sabonis. And I feel like that
No, it
is
wouldn't work.
just like, yeah, I feel like it just wouldn't work. Obviously, Sabonis is a rebounder, so that's fine. But
Yeah.
the defense kind of.
I
would
also love how
definitely-
it's like a video game when players go back to their hometowns, they get like a boost. Like MLB The Show does that. Like if you're in the
Oh,
regions, they're like,
God.
"Oh, Gord going to
That's
Indiana.
what
He
Josh
must
puts
be
all
like
of his
sick."
money on. Josh always goes that it's a revenge game. And
Playing
it's
in front of the
Well,
family.
no,
He's
that's a
gonna be
narrative
sick.
game. That's not a revenge game. That's a narrative.
Where they mention that every time he plays. Oh, local native.
Well, if you
Gordon
wanna look-
Hayward.
you can look at the stats. Okay, Marcus Smart against the Mavs at Mavs.
Just because
How
his
does he
family's
do?
there.
Yeah, he'll always go off.
So why
Promise.
doesn't he just play for the Mavericks? He'd have like average triple double.
Well, that's not how it works. That's definitely not how that works.
Sorry, I don't
It's like a
understand
special
this.
moment where he like needs to play well.
So
Yeah.
So it's like the same thing. Like Gordon Hayward, I actually bet on Gordon Hayward last year to get over points when we played the Pacers at Indiana, and he did not do it for me.
Yeah, so
So-
you're disproving your own theory, is what I'm hearing.
I'm not disproving anything.
yeah.
I plead the fifth.
Right.
Indiana Pacers have an 84% chance of making the playoffs according to ESPN.
What do they say,
1%
the
had them
Cavs?
completely out. So this is what gets interesting. Cavs have a 1% chance.
No fucking
Yes.
The
way.
Pistons
Yes.
also have a 1% chance, but the
wow.
Pistons are projected
Have a
0.1 win higher.
Bro, this is
Wow.
the same ESPN
Brian
that
was
Zach Levine
really
at
on
56.
today.
I am
Brian
on
was
today.
really on today.
Same Zach
Okay?
Levine.
And I
same.
know
But
Wendell
that's
Carter has
but-
hemorrhoids.
But as Matt just said, Matt brings up a great point. It's the same ESPN that put Zach Levine at 56.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Cavs,
you know what? Cavs have a definitely
seed.
have a maybe. Sam Waitig. We've lost a lot of money together. And by the way, shout out to my friend Aaron. Lots of friends.
Aaron
Who's
Wiener.
Aaron?
Right?
Aaron.
He follows us on Twitter. So.
It's actually Aaron Weiner.
I-
But it's
I prefer Wiener.
but I tell the story all the time because he told me that I told you this already, that his in second grade. This is a great anecdote.
You don't have to preface it by saying that. We'll determine whether it's a good
In
anecdote.
it's already in the second grade when the principal was doing birthday shout outs on the intercom.
No.
He said, "Happy birthday to Aaron Weiner."
Because his dad's Andrew
So,
Weiner, the
shout out to
New York,
you.
former New York governor.
Yeah,
That
that's
got
exactly what it is.
caught with
So-
naked pictures of ladies.
So shout out to my friend Aaron.
Every year, Matt says the Indiana Pacers are going to the finals. And
Eastern
they fall
Conference
short.
Finals. Always
Every
Eastern
year.
Conference.
Every year they fall short. That
Every
is
year.
very good
Okay,
point,
like-
Scott.
They're not making the Eastern Conference Finals in the next 5 years. They're not.
Nope.
They're not.
The next
They-
5? Yeah, probably not. But I'm still going to say they're making the Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah, I know.
until they
I know.
do it.
Listen, this is a
Why don't you
complete
tell
starting
us why
five.
they're your favorite team?
Similar to Gordon Hayward, my mom is from Indiana.
Is that a fact?
So I have the hometown
Is that a fact?
super power
Of course
boost.
it is.
Shout out Julie Lowry.
Yeah.
She'll be listening.
I think this is a complete roster. If TJ Warren is their primary scorer, and if he keeps that bubble level scoring,
Bubble
if Victor
mentality.
Oladipo is healthy, if Malcolm Brogdon's 50, 40, 90, Sabonis is an all-star,
I mean, if you compare this to
Miles Turner becomes Karl Anthony Towns.
Right, they're a complete
You
team,
won.
but they'll never. They don't have.
No,
the
they're very,
guy.
very high basement, low ceiling team. You know what I'm saying?
Google
Yeah.
Blitz.
Like, they're gonna win-
Beat Stad.
45, 50 games of
Well,
72.
they're
Yeah,
they're in
they
a
lose lot of games.
they're in a weird
Go,
in a weird spot though because
Beat Tads.
you can't blow it up right now because like they clearly have something,
Right.
but if you're a Pacers fan,
You need something more.
yeah, and if you're like looking at this roster that they're not winning at
No,
all,
probably not.
and they're not probably not even the Eastern Conference
Could
Finals.
this team-
I wouldn't be surprised if they made it to the Eastern Conference Finals.
Really?
I wouldn't be that surprised.
I would be.
I think that they're a good
And
team.
I'm saying they're gonna do it.
I think they're complete. I
Eastern
wouldn't be.
Conference Finals.
I mean, I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to. But I don't think them being like the 5 seed is that crazy, and
Yeah.
them being the 5 seed would not make it impossible to get there.
Do you think this team could put a package together for James Harden?
no,
If you put in like Oladipo,
It'd
Turner,
have to be like
and
it's
like
not exciting
and
enough.
Warren.
Why would he want to go there if you trade away
Well, it's not up
Oladipo
to him.
and Turner?
it's not.
Oh,
up
you
to
said
him.
Warren?
Well, they were still good without
God.
Oladipo.
Harden in
I
that
think
blue
I
and
honestly
gold
think
would
that
be-
trading Oladipo would probably be like a good idea for them,
'Cause you
considering
think he's
he might
gonna
be
plateau.
It might be like one of those Isaiah Thomas situations, not as drastic, like where he just like completely falls off from an injury. But when he
Yeah.
came back last year,
Wasn't the same player.
he was definitely not the same player. But at the same time, he just came back, so
Right.
and he was like on a minute restriction for a lot of that.
And Sabonis didn't have Sabonis in the bubble.
Yeah. See, I'm telling you.
This Pacers
Sleeper.
team, sleeper. They're gonna be a sleeper
They have a
forever.
good- I mean, they have
and
a good
never
bench,
do
too.
anything.
They
And
really
never
do.
wake up. You feel me?
Yeah, they really do have a good
But-
bench though. So
2 holidays on the bench. Happy holidays,
Mm-hmm.
first of all. Happy Hanukkah, Josh,
thank you.
and half
Oh,
of Scott.
Thank you very
This is
much.
day 2 tonight.
What'd you get?
Why did you bring that up?
Oh.
Why was it some? Did you not get
They don't
anything?
do gifts anymore.
I didn't get anything.
Oh, you got this podcast and chips.
You
so.
got friends. Actually, yeah, you got the chips.
Land
And
shark.
something. We'll see what happens. New coach for the Pacers. Weird firing Nate McMillan. They got a different Nate Bjork.
Well, that's kind of why they're in like that weird spot that I was talking about though, because it's like maybe they don't even know what they're
no, they
expecting.
feel like they needed a change. And it was just like, yeah, it's the coach's fault for some reason. Even though like personnel, like they didn't underperform. Like they're just gonna be a playoff team. Like, but if
Yeah,
they lose in
exactly.
the first round, I feel like that's not like
That's
underwhelming.
what I don't understand about a lot of firings in the NBA.
Because
for
Nate McMillan
coaches.
didn't have a losing season with
Yeah,
them.
they don't. I feel like. What were they expecting?
Yeah,
Kind of
like he did what that
Yeah.
I would expect him to do with that roster. Weird team that has Victor Oladipo has been an all-star. Sabonis has been an all-star. Does anyone on this roster make an all-star team ever again?
You could argue that
TJ Warren.
T.J. Warren or Miles Turner could have like a
Dude,
Hydrate,
I'm
bro.
sorry. What the fuck is with my voice cracks tonight?
I think the beer dries you out, and then
I just
You
got
know me water, bro.
I'm talking so light. All right, back T.J. Warren, is that what you were saying, Brian?
T.J. Warren or Miles Turner a big year could land them an All-Star spot. I don't think it's like gonna happen, but those are the two most likely. I think on
I think
that
that
team.
All-Star is also like a really big narrative kind of thing.
Josh and his narratives. It
I think
absolutely
that
is
by the
though.
media, and obviously T.J. Warren is coming off a great
and
bubble.
Pacers get like
voting.
no media coverage though. I feel like.
Yeah, but T.J. Warren's coming off a great bubble
Yeah.
where he was getting media coverage
And well, and he had the
all-
beef with Jimmy Butler,
all-
which
yeah,
I feel like
yeah.
was more
Yeah, for
important than even the
all day
scoring.
long, like literally all day long in the bubble.
Yeah.
It was about T.J. Warren whenever he was playing, and then also Oladipo, like people. I mean,
Being bad
people.
recently, at least.
Yeah, but I mean,
Yeah, I
he's
think-
still like he still has like that. I wouldn't say superstar, but I would say all-star narrative kind of around him, where it's like
Yeah.
people talk about him like he's an all-star. So I mean, I would not be surprised
All-star
at all of this year
defender.
if both of them make it. I can't say I'd be surprised if like no one of the Pacers made it, but I
Yeah, I
feel
could
like
see that
someone's
too.
got to make it. Like one of them. I mean, they have 3 all-star caliber players because Sabonis was an all-star last year.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Weird, like 15 and 14 All Star. Like he was probably the 12th man on that team.
Yeah.
The only team to have 2 TJs.
You don't know that?
Well, they
They
actually
had
had
3,
three
but
with
they
TJ leave.
that was too many, so they had to trade him. They're like, no, it's too confusing. So if you're the Pacers, then what do? You just ride this out and be like, we'll make the playoffs, or do you like?
That's
I think
it.
you tried. Maybe you put a package for a star.
Well, you know, this is kind of what me and my brother were talking about earlier today.
Which
John?
Hey.
We were talking
shout out
about
John.
how some teams in this is really all sports, where some teams, like, if you don't win the championship, or if you, even if, like, I guess for the NBA it's more like if you don't even like make it to the finals, or if you don't make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, it's a losing season.
Right.
But there's lots of teams where it's like if you make the playoffs, it's a winning season.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like
It's all about expectations.
exactly. So it's like take for
Yeah.
like instance like the Suns last year, and how they didn't make the playoffs last season. Sorry,
Right.
how they didn't make the playoffs, and everyone was like so like upset about it
Well, they won out in the bubble.
because they went out of the bubble. So it's like rightfully so, but at the same time, it doesn't matter if they make the playoffs.
Right.
To like them actually winning, because they weren't going to win anything.
Well, the thing is, like, do your expectations change season to season? Like, if you have the same expectations every year, then, like, what's the point? You know what I'm saying?
Well, when you're like a smaller market team, honestly, like maybe they do stay the same.
I know, like, they do stay the same, but, like, that's a problem because then
Yeah.
there's, like, what's the point? You're just, like, treading water.
I mean, small market teams don't.
I think you trade for a
win,
star.
Don't win championships often anymore.
I don't know. I feel like you go for, like, an aging star who you can get cheap that would, like, put, like, maybe 2.
Blake Griffin.
I was thinking, like, Blake Griffin.
Mm.
Or, like, if he's playing well. I feel like you may need a guard, though.
Yeah.
I think they need a. I
Well,
think they need a
they could
three.
get
It was
rid of-
like James Harden would be sick.
Oladipo, even though Oladipo said he wants to stay, I think the potential of the comments he made, like last season, asking people that he wanted to leave,
Mhm.
I think he's bound to go. The story like writes itself.
Yeah.
Um,
Or Bradley Beal.
yeah,
Put him on the Pacers.
Imagine sending him out for Oladipo out for a guy that can actually score consistently, but also just like bring something exciting to Indiana. Because do you look at this roster
Yeah.
and say like, oh, any of these guys are exciting?
No, they're definitely not flashy. They're very gritty,
Yeah.
kind of like we're going to allow like 99 points a game and probably score 102.
Yeah,
And like that's going to get them in the playoffs, but at the end of the day, they're not going deep. CJ McCollum may be someone I would target because he's kind of in and out of, I don't know, I've seen things of him out of Portland. Like, I don't know. It's either that or you just like, I don't know. They're just kind of stagnant at this point. So I'm going to keep saying they're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. How many years will it take before they actually do?
How
Might
about
be a
this?
decade.
How about
Nine
this?
and a
That's
half
what I-
is what Matt set it at.
What do you
Over
think?
Under 9.5 years
Years.
until they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm gonna have to go with.
They're not going to have a single guy on this roster.
I'm
That,
gonna have to
on
go
that
with.
team,
Yeah,
bro.
I know. I'm gonna have to go with.
I'll
over.
I'll take the. Oh.
I'm with you.
Even though I did say, and I stand by it, I would not be that shocked if they
No.
do make it this. If they do make it this year or next year.
I think think under 9. I think if they stay pretty good, they're bound to.
Well, they
be
have
a
Brogdon
decent,
for a while.
Landing spot for a good free agent, right? They'll get someone in the next 5 years, but I don't know. What did Brogdon do? What?
They have just signed him to like a long-term deal, so he'll be around for a while.
Yeah.
The others, I mean, TJ Warren was a sick value pick for them. I think they have smart people behind, like they make a lot of smart moves. The Sabonis and Oladipo trade for Paul George was like so bad initially, and like both have made all-star teams. So I think they're smart. It's just a matter of like, can they be smarter?
Yeah.
And continue making smart moves. All right. Yeah. Does anyone on this team score over 20 points? And we'll move on.
There's got to be one. I just don't know which one. Probably
TJ Warren.
Yeah. He's around 20 last season. I mean, people know he's like a legit scorer now, though, so I feel like, you're going to put your best defender on him.
I mean, Oladipo obviously can do it if he can.
If he's healthy.
Yeah, if he's healthy, if he can be what he was.
Yeah. Cool. All right, we'll see. Let's look at these Bucks. Obviously, one major offseason move.
Yeah, this is a...
Forbes coming in.
Who? I'm just kidding. Let's talk about
Drew Holiday. Drew with the J, because he's got to jump up.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot to say about the Bucks. It's like they made the worst trade, I think, out of all of the big trades where you have like a dump of picks and players.
Mm-hmm.
The Paul George trade, the Anthony Davis trade. This is by far the worst one. Okay?
Wow. Okay.
You needed to bring something in that would give Giannis some excitement to stay. And Drew Holiday does not say that in any way. Like, that does not make anybody excited. I like him, and it would have been a cool addition to, the Celtics, to a bunch of teams. But this is not exciting. Milwaukee is already boring as hell. Their jerseys say Cream City. Okay? It's a bad...
That's sick. I'm very excited for Cream
City. It's a bad place. No one wants to go there. You would have to force an actual good superstar to be there. And Drew Holiday is good, but Giannis is going to leave now. Okay? And then you give away more than LA gave away for Anthony Davis. You give away a lot, especially you look forward pick swaps, future firsts. I think there's a first round or a pick swap in 2027. Okay, no protection. That is
no protection leads to bad things.
No protection is a bad
many
decision.
facets of
okay,
life.
Man.
You look
Only
7 years into the future, Scott. Anybody, Scott, Josh, or Matt, who is going to be the best player in 2027? Okay, who's going to be the worst team?
One of LeBron James's kids.
You can't predict it either
I just did.
And you can predict that Milwaukee, which is an awful, awful, awful location, will be could be one of the potentially worst teams.
One of the most segregated cities in the entire country.
Yeah, I mean, just look at what is it? Sterling Brown was the guy on their team. It is a bad place. No one wants to go there.
It's true.
There's not one guy in this league that wants to go there.
2027 is when that pick is?
2027, first round unprotected.
Wild.
Milwaukee will not have a good team in 2027, and that will be a great pick for this New Orleans team, who will be a championship contender at that time period.
Right.
Okay?
I like that.
You get screwed. Yeah. Milwaukee screwed themselves for the future, and it's gonna end up being more overpowering trade than the Celtics Nets. Than the
at least compares.
It is a very, very, very awful trade, and you lose Giannis next year to another team. This team is just, they're screwed, and
Well, it's championship or bust.
It's championship or bust.
And I think that they can definitely win a championship with the team.
They're just
right.
I don't know. They're a regular season team.
Well, that was my point. Is like, if they win a championship, does that make the trade worth it?
Yes,
which is 100%. Right?
Yeah. 100%.
But I don't
and then they'll keep Giannis. I mean, actually, that's not necessarily true.
No,
because it could be one of those moments where it's like, okay, like I did my job, but now I want to go. Like,
this is for you.
And now I want to go like be in LA, be in Golden State, be in Miami. Be in a place where you would.
It's
Boston.
Miami. He's going to Miami.
I don't like them. I don't like their chances of winning a championship.
I don't either.
I mean, their team is pretty good.
There are.
Making it is
Very
one thing,
good.
but
Like
winning
that.
is a whole other
Drew
thing.
Holiday is a underrated upgrade from Eric Bledsoe, especially
If
Eric
he
Bledsoe was
performs
not
in the
great.
playoffs,
Yeah, it's true. But Drew Holiday, like statistically, maybe I don't even. Right now, I don't
he's
have
like
the
a
stats in front of
little
me. Statistically,
better.
a little better. But like, if you like actually know who
Right.
know them, like he's a far better player.
Oh
far.
yeah.
Well, you could. There was a
Significantly.
video
So-
recently of him guarding Giannis,
Yeah.
which to me is like he can guard like 1
Yeah.
through 4, maybe
Yeah.
5.
He's just a,
Like
he's, a
he's
monster.
bigger,
He's
he's
a monster.
longer,
And then they pick up DJ Augustine, who was
longer arms.
a starting point guard on a playoff team last year.
Yeah.
Right.
Like that like he's not a fantastic player, obviously, by any means, but
Solid piece.
he's a
Brian
solid
Forbes
player.
started
backup.
for the Spurs. I didn't realize
Bryn,
that until
Bryn
looking
Forbes.
at Bryn.
He's a
Brian
scorer.
Diaz, Bryn Forbes.
And then you have Bobby Portis.
And Torrey Craig. Like no, I think that
I
I
like-
really
I
truly
like
do
Bobby
believe
Portis
that
on
they
that
got.
team.
I think that they got like
They got better.
they definitely got better. I agree with Brian's rant that it was not it's analysis rant that it was.
Skip Bayless
You prefer-
rants,
you
okay?
prefer
Brian
analysis?
Diaz.
I think it was a rant.
analyzes.
I will say that I agree with it. Like it's not a great trade, obviously, but
It's embarrassingly bad.
But yeah, but they got better for this season. Like,
Maybe next.
look at how far they made it last year, and can they make it one step further? I guess it's kind of two because you have to make it to the finals and then win the
Right.
finals. But I mean, yeah, the Lakers are going to be hard to beat, no matter what.
you need to win a championship for any of this to work.
Yeah,
out,
you
for
do-
anything
yeah,
to look
absolutely.
good.
You do, and I
Yep.
mean, I
And it's justified. Then it's like,
yeah.
fair enough. You won a championship. You made the necessary move. But I feel like the whole thing for this team, like, rests on whether they can play like in the playoffs as they do in the regular season. Like, can Brook Lopez shoot from 3 the way he does in the regular season? Can Chris Middleton score enough in the playoffs as he
Yep.
does in the regular season? Can he be
Yep.
an all-star second scorer? Can Giannis play the same way?
Well, it's going to be a different season again.
Drew Holiday's never.
But-
I don't know how far, like the
What
farthest he's
happened?
gone in the playoffs, but like I don't think he's used to like a conference finals game.
Probably only
I'm-
first round. He's
Well-
probably only ever been in the first
Yeah.
round.
Can we talk about what happened
Or
to
maybe
them
second, I
against
guess,
the
a couple
Heat
years ago.
this year? What happened in that series? Why were they
Just
so
Middleton
bad?
played
Bam
poorly.
Adebayo.
Bledsoe played poorly.
Giannis hurt.
So the Drew
Oh, yeah,
Drew
Giannis was hurt.
makes
Yeah,
up
that's
for
true.
that? Enough?
No,
to
I think
bring
Drew's
them-
good. Heat were hot, but then you got to look. I mean, the Heat
Yeah.
were hot. No one was like,
It was
oh,
bubble
Heat.
bubble basketball.
It could have been bubble.
too.
Exactly. It could have been the bubble.
I think yeah,
Um,
the Heat's a great. Milwaukee's a great regular season team. So in the playoffs, if they have home field advantage, it changes everything.
Well,
You're
yeah,
right.
and who knows what it'll
You're right.
look like
Home- I forgot
fan
what
wise.
home
That
field
if that
advantage.
home court's like a big deal this
Yeah.
year or not,
Well,
because I think that will help them.
I do think even without fans, like I don't know, home locker room and home bed before game sounds dumb, but I think it does help a little bit.
comfort.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because before this season, it was just you're in a hotel room. Everyone's on
Yeah.
level playing ground.
Yeah, you're with your family at home and stuff. Yeah, it's different. Very different.
It's a very interesting team, and Drew is a great player, but not
Yeah.
this trade. I would argue that this trade could have been done with just the 2027 first round draft pick alone.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I'm saying like in the future, not now. You could look back and say this trade, Drew Holiday could have been the equivalent to that pick. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. Depending on who that player is,
yeah,
like he has
so-
the same amount of value.
I don't like.
Brian's
the
not a
trade.
fan.
No, I
Whoa,
think it needed more protection.
Drew Holiday. When did he sign this? I didn't realize he signed a pretty big deal with the Pelicans. When
Yeah.
was that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yes.
that was 20. Looks like 2017.
Yeah, but they
So they might not even have him for that long.
So they have him for 2 years.
Yeah.
and it looks like,
He's getting a
you
good amount of
lose
money.
unless you can really attract someone in the next year to join Drew and Giannis, which I think
Yeah,
it's there's a more of a chance that the Cavs win the championship this year than Giannis staying in Milwaukee.
Really? So there's a less than 1% chance of
Yeah.
Giannis staying.
Does anyone disagree?
You think
Yes.
Giannis is gone
Wow.
already?
I think Giannis is gone.
I think he stays.
I mean, I don't think it would be.
I think they make Eastern
in the
Conference
Cream
Finals.
City.
In the Cream City.
I think it's
baby.
like a 50-50
Cream
kind of
guy.
thing. I don't think. I mean, I don't think you could say that, Brian. I think that was an exaggeration. I know
think-
what you're saying. I think it's a
I
little
don't know, I
bit of
think they're one
exaggeration.
piece away from winning a championship.
I
If
think-
they get the piece this in the next within the
Bogdan
year.
could have been that piece, I feel like.
That's true.
It
It
fell through.
was.
Do you make a move for James Harden? Like, how much do you push? Obviously,
Oh
now they don't
my
have
God.
They
many
can't.
picks.
Yeah,
But
they can't.
You don't have anything.
Chris
to give away.
Middleton and, like, yeah, it'd have to be Chris
They
Middleton.
have to be
maybe
Chris Middleton, like
DiVincenzo
everyone. Yeah.
and Holiday.
Chris
probably.
Middleton, DiVincenzo,
Well, Holiday, you think? I don't think Holiday.
and maybe
To actually get Harden, like, I don't think
I
you
don't-
could get without Holiday, maybe.
I mean, I know
don't know.
what you're saying, but I
They're
feel
better
like
packages than
I feel like they wouldn't have
DiVincenzo
done
and
all
Middleton.
that and then just be like, okay, yeah, we're gonna get rid of you now. And
Well, I
get
mean, they
Harden.
didn't know Harden was, like, trying to get out of there when they made the Holiday deal.
Yeah, that's true.
I think
Wow.
it's too
Yeah.
late. I think the trade has been like completed. Now you can't trade Holiday for like, I
We'll
think it's like
see.
50 days.
Is Mike Budenholzer on the hot seat?
Yes, after that
Yeah,
playoffs last year.
It's not like he's like had
Burning
a secure
hot seat.
spot.
I mean, he was coach of the year,
in a
wasn't
similar
he?
way that
Yeah.
the
One time.
in a similar way that the Raptors were. Who's the Raptors coach?
Dwayne Casey,
Right, had a
coach of the
weren't
year,
they-
doesn't always
Yeah,
like translate to security
Yeah.
Brad Stevens was robbed.
in the Dwayne Casey.
Well, the thing
year.
is, coach of the
Yeah.
year is
Oh,
basically
yeah.
just
I
like,
forget
did
I forget who was
you
robbed. Maybe it was Quinn
exceed
Snyder. No, Quinn Snyder won
expectations
it
the
then.
most, basically, as coach of the year? Like, it doesn't even
Yeah,
mean best.
yeah,
Like, Pop would probably win coach of the year every year.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like,
yeah.
oh, this guy did more
Except
with
last
less.
year, but yeah.
Yeah.
Whoopty.
All right, I think that's. Do you have anything else for
Giannis
the
triple
Bucks?
doubles over 4.5 from me. I say he's got
assists is hard though.
no, but
Yeah,
now
actually, his assist numbers aren't as good as I thought. He averaged 5.6 last season.
I see him-
He had 4 triple doubles last year, 5 the year previous.
I see him having a good year.
He's gotta have a chip on his shoulder. I feel like. I
Yeah,
feel like he's
yeah.
angry.
Why? For
Because
losing?
I think they fell short of expectations.
Oh, it
Especially
depends
for
on
him.
how
didn't
much
play
he
the well
loves
he
Cream
liked
City
to.
or not. Cream. Can I?
I've never even heard that before.
I make a
I gotta
petition?
see that. I'm gonna get a Cream City
It's
Chris
the
Middleton
it's,
jersey.
It's the jersey is
You've
like
never seen that?
the,
cream color
the
jersey
jersey
is
looks
awesome.
like.
Can I make?
Yeah.
I've seen the jersey. I don't think I've ever read it as like I've never. Who calls it that?
Can I make a petition
Cream
to every
City.
time we
They
mention
do.
What is that a reference to?
Milwaukee for the
They
rest of
must
the
love-
Do they make
podcast?
cream?
It has to
What
be
kind
Cream
of cream?
City.
I mean,
Sour cream.
There you go. The
Maybe-
cream city.
Sour Cream
cursive.
City.
What cream? Cream cheese.
No, I think it's like cream soda cream.
Cream
because
soda.
of the no,
Why?
no, they're
Why?
known as the Cream City because of the yellow cream-colored bricks that were first
That's
discovered and
disgusting.
made here in the 19th century.
Oh,
Wow, that's not my
I
first
always
guess.
affiliated it with cream soda.
The gang learns about the history
Can we
behind
do a,
Cream
can we
City.
do a can we do a taste test of cream soda at some point on this
Ew.
podcast?
Yeah.
I don't even know what
That's coming up
regular
next.
soda tastes like, much less.
Brian, that is so
Brian.
strange. That is
Cream soda is amazing.
I've never had
It's just
any
root
soda
beer, but,
besides
without this
crushed
spice.
orange
extra,
soda.
like extra vanilla extract added.
It's
All
just
right.
carbonated
I had a
vanilla
little
extract.
crushed orange soda
All
phase, but
right.
other than that, I don't know what Sprite
I
tastes
think
like.
that wraps up our
Oh,
Central
yeah,
Division
yeah.
preview.
shout out to our sponsors today.
Please.
Mhm.
Who's the sponsor?
We respond Land Shark Lager. That's pretty good.
The Island Style
that was
Lager.
great.
Fins up.
Fins up, baby.
Fins
Get
up.
your
It
12-pack
says-
today
it
for
doesn't say
$15.
fins up,
It
does
does say fins up. 12-pack today,
Oh.
$14 at
Send-
Liquor World in Sharon, Massachusetts. That's our
the
second
Miami
sponsor.
Dolphins.
Send us a
Another slogan.
picture of you drinking it on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
Use hashtag fins up at the Baller Scholar podcast.
Yep.
Is it the?
And you will be entered automatically to win a $5 Venmo from us.
Wow.
You got it.
Wow.
And our other sponsor, thank you very much, is
The Bentley Falcons.
the Bentley Falcons.
Shout
Shout out to the
Joe.
Bentley Falcons.
Mark Filipkowski,
Yeah.
alum.
And we also have one more. It is
Ruffles sour
cream
and onion.
soda. Sour
Wow,
cream.
A&W, A&W.
The
A&W cream soda.
cream soda.
Every
I haven't had a shout out.
cream soda.
Shout out to the guy who cracked the Zodiac killer code. You guys hear about that?
He finally
Actually,
did
what
it.
the fuck?
Is this a current event now?
51 years later, it's been cracked by a...
and our last sponsor, meatspin.com.
Well, we can't use that one. We
yeah.
definitely cannot use that.
Yeah.
You just listened to another episode of the Baller Scholar podcast.